anyways, but yeah, so we all hate it, and those people that don't, well, they're super bummed, so they have a reason to like it. But, it's not really a very fun thing. But for me, it's kind of maybe a little bit worse. See, I don't like running at all, and, well, I kind of have a reason not to like it, just because, as some of you have probably seen, usually I have a tiny tendency to kind of push myself a little bit too hard. So when I run, after I'm finished running, I kind of maybe collapse. It only happens sometimes, but it still happens. And it's a little lightheaded, slight hyperventilating. It's not a good thing at all. It's horrible, actually. Basically, give my coach a heart attack, maybe. But, it's just not good. Let's put it there. Anyways, so you would think that, okay, yeah, so she has, have trouble running, okay? You have a legit excuse to get out of the mile. Here's the kicker. I fight to actually run the mile. I literally fight with my coach to let me run. Just ask Travis. He's in my PE class. He kind of saw this past Friday where I was literally fighting with the coach to let me run. I lost, only because I was ambushed. But I have won before. But you may be thinking, okay, you have a legit excuse not to run. It makes sense. It's a medical. The coach doesn't even want you to run. Why the heck do you run? Well, even though some of you may not agree with this, not pointing any fingers, but actually me running it helps me because it builds up my endurance. But what sucks about it is that I have to go through that every time because the whole thing, it doesn't go away. It's still there. I still have trouble running, and whether I like it or not, I do. If I'm out there on the track, I push myself because I get really competitive and I want to get a good grade. And if you haven't met my dad, he's really fit and stuff like that. So I felt I had to live up to a legacy. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but that's my mentality. So I would push myself too hard, and I had to deal with it every time. And I had so many people that were telling me, Franci, you don't have to push yourself. Just stop doing it. Just slow down. But I kept going. I fought with them over and over again about this. But I even started to wonder myself. I go through this every time. I hate it. I absolutely dread the mile. I complain about it. And yet I still fight to run it. Just because, yeah, even though I have to go through this every time, it gets better. And it's always going to be there. I'm not going to get rid of it. But it actually gets better as I keep working at it. So, as I said before, my whole topic is stuck in between. This can also be applied to the spiritual life. This is actually something I have been struggling with. One of my Bible teachers once said that the best way you can figure out a topic for a sermon is to do something that you yourself is struggling with. Now, I've been brought up SDA. I have two wonderful parents that are here that have brought me up right. As Jeremy has said, I know all the right Bible answers. I know what to say. I know all the famous Bible stories front and backwards. I even used to be able to amaze some of my Sabbath school teachers with knowing stories that kids my age didn't even know about. So I know I'm your typical good Christian. I can't claim ignorance. It's just, it won't work. I have too much of the Bible knowledge to be able to claim ignorance. But yet, I try so hard, but I feel like I'm failing. I keep trying to do better, but it seems sometimes I do worse. So every time I try and do better, then I end up doing worse. That's kind of not really, I'm not even accomplishing what I'm doing. I'm kind of doing the opposite. So I wonder, why do I keep doing this, but it's not working? Am I doing it wrong? Is there something I haven't gotten yet? I'm doing what people tell me to do, and what I found to be true in the Bible. Why am I not getting to where I want to be? And I think Paul probably shows this the best in Romans 7, 19, and 20. You guys have your Bibles with you, just turn there. So, Romans 17, 19, and 20. For what I do is not the good I want to do. No, the evil I do not want to do, this I keep doing. Now, if I do what I do not want to do, it is no longer I who do it, but it's the sin living in me that does it. Now, I don't know about you, but that's some pretty heavy stuff. can tell from the experience of it that Paul's talking about his own experience. Now, we all know about Paul. I mean, he's done amazing stuff. He used to travel all around the hunting. He was a true apostle. Even though he had done those horrible things, he still turned around and he actually made that commitment and he lived for God. And yet here he is saying that the good stuff that he wants to do, he doesn't do it. But yet the stuff he doesn't want to do, he keeps on doing it. When you're thinking, this is Paul. Paul has done so many wonderful things. How is that even possible? But yet, it's interesting that I kind of agree with Pastor Jay. Our English translations don't exactly do a good job of explaining this. So when it talks about the good, it's not just talking about the good. The word good, since this is the New Testament, so it's Greek. It's come from the Greek word kalos. And kalos is used to mean excellent or beautiful. So in other words, he's saying, I don't do the excellent things that I know I'm supposed to do. I know God has a big plan for me, and he wants me to do these things. But I don't do it. I do the evil, the lawlessness that I know I'm not supposed to do. But, if the verse just ended there, we'd kind of all be screwed, pretty much. It's just, if even Paul is doing this, and we're not even on the same level as him, then what hope do we have? But he continues in that. He says, now, if I do what I do not want to do, it is no longer I who do it, but it is the sin living in me that does it. So it's almost like we see this inner battle between us. There's two things going on inside of this. Later on, in the book of Paul, he's talking about that the carnal nature, that the stuff we're born with. We've all heard that we've been born sinful as a sinner. We're all born with this. We're cursed with this sin thanks to Adam and Eve. But, once we actually make that turnaround, we make that turnaround to Christ, we just sometimes, whether we like it or not, we expect that it's just going to go away. That we're going to get better. But you know what? It doesn't go away. Because the habits that you created while you were sinful yet and you hadn't given your life to Christ, you still have. And that's what makes it hard. Just because the closer you get to God, the more sin you see in yourself. You realize that you're more dirty than you were in the first place. And so you feel like you want to get discouraged, but that's the important thing. You can't get discouraged. Because guess what? Yes, there's going to be a battle going on in you. You're always going to have that battle. Just like I'm always going to have that stupid attack every time I run. I'm going to have that lightheadedness and slight hyperventilating. I'm always going to have to go through it. But the only way it gets any better is if I keep going at it, if I keep practicing it. Yes, it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. So, okay, I've been running more in PE. I have PE this semester. But it was this semester that I had the worst attack I have ever had. I had to go to the nurse, and I have never gone to the nurse before. And I was sent home. It was that bad. But you know what? I have to keep going on it because if I don't, it is going to get worse. It's going to get worse, and it's not going to get any better. And that's how the way it is. We can't do it by ourselves, though. I couldn't do it by myself. I'm so lucky to have wonderful friends that keep encouraging me and help me not to push myself. Because guess what? If I kind of do it on myself, I kind of push myself a little bit too hard. So, but I have those friends that will run beside me and tell me when to go farther or when to push back and to keep me upright and to keep supporting me. And I have wonderful parents that keep supporting me and telling me that I can do it, that I can do these things. That, you know what, maybe I don't have to live up to my dad's legacy, even though that is kind of hard to live up to, but I just have to make my own. It's not an easy thing to do, and you know what, it's so hard. It really is, which is why Christ keeps always emphasizing that we can't do these things by ourselves. We just can't. We lose our hope, and we stumble, and we fall, and we really don't see a reason to get back up. We've been taught that if something doesn't work, then stop doing it. Find a different way, because what you're doing is not doing. But in this case, it's actually